had this proof of concept and it was actually working surprisingly well, but it was a little bit janky. So the first step was to try to beef up the design to make it a little bit more accurate. I made some of the parts thicker, doubled up the bearings in some locations, doubled up the vertical arms to make it a little bit stronger, and I added the whole thing onto an MDF base to keep it stable while it was firing. Next, I added a net complete with a glass backboard and a custom mesh, and it was time to start taking some shots. And as you can see, it was not working that well. The ball wasn't quite arcing the way it was supposed to, and I was suspecting that it had something to do with the design of the scoop. So that was next up. Now, I didn't take an especially mathematical approach to this. I was basically just tweaking dimensions until I found something that would give me the arc that I was looking for. And what I found was a shorter scoop would allow the ball to be released earlier in the shot, causing a bigger arc. So that's what I went with, and I was finding that I was starting to hit shots a lot more consistently. But how consistently? And to answer that question, I went on a little bit of a side quest, which ultimately would have nothing to do with the final design. We'll talk more about that in a second. But the side quest was to produce a mechanical hopper that would feed the scoop automatically, allowing the robot to rapid fire basketball shots consecutively. What resulted was this, which was super fun. And with the confidence that I could now hit basketball shots in my sleep, it was time to start figuring out what the final concept was going to look like. Presenting to you what I am officially calling Super Splash Bros. I am so happy with the way that this thing turned out. This really pushed me to think a lot more about aesthetics and design and material choice on top of the engineering. And although it's not perfect, nothing is, it definitely achieves that mesmerizing effect that I was going for. But my favorite part, if you listen really closely, when you take a little tiny basketball and you make a perfect shot, you get a little tiny swish.